Hello, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to Yin this Friday evening. I'm Erin. I will be leading you through our practice tonight. We'll be using a block and a blanket as usual, and also a strap today if you have one, or something strap-like that you can use to create a little bit of resistance. So with that, we can go ahead and get started. We're going to begin on our backs as usual, so rolling down to the floor on your mat, finding a comfortable shape, whatever that looks like for you. And letting yourself find some contact with your mat. Maybe letting the eyes fall closed. Starting to tune into the breath. And tune into the internal world of the physical body, the mind. Doing a quick scan of the body from the crown of the head to the tips of the toes. Just taking a moment to notice where everything is at today in this moment as we come into our practice. Beginning to lengthen the breath. Feeling the lips, we'll inhale through the nose to a count of 4. And then exhale out the nose to a count of 6, making the exhales a little bit longer than the inhales. Feeling the belly rise and fall with the in-breath and out-breath. Feeling that fresh air and oxygen move through the body, supplying us with energy and life. Very simple process. We often take for granted. I'll take one more full breath, that 4-6 count. And we'll start to bring some gentle movement in to the hands and feet, starting by rolling the ankles and wrists, just waking up the joints. And taking those circles in the opposite direction. Next, if you have not already done so, bend the knees and plant the soles of the feet on the mat, taking them kind of wide, about mat width distance. And then we'll bring arms out to a T or maybe goalpost. And just start to gently windshield wipe the knees from side to side. Taking this as deep as you want to, but keeping the shoulders connected to the floor. You can start to bring the head and neck into this, taking the gaze in the opposite direction of the knees as you move back and forth. And after one more round, we'll meet back in center. And then we'll grab our strap for the first time today. And then holding it in both hands, we'll loop it around the sole of the right foot, sending that heel up towards the sky. Left leg can stay bent or come out long, your choice. And then creating a little bit of tension and resistance with that strap, we'll just start to bend and straighten through the right knee. And some opening through the back of the right leg. And playing around with maybe bringing that knee more out to the side, like a happy baby kind of knee bend, or keeping it closer into center. And just feeling how that changes the sensation in that right leg. All right, and then we'll let that go, release the right leg down, and loop our strap around the sole of the left foot first, pressing through that heel, straightening up towards the ceiling, and then starting to bend and straighten using the strap to help us. And when you feel like you're done playing around on this side, we'll release that left foot down. Coming back to center. We'll inhale to take a full body stretch, reaching long through fingertips and toes, and then exhale to curl to one side or the other, and then start to press up towards a comfortable seat. Once we're here, we're going to plant the soles of the feet out in front of us right away, and then scooting forward so I can be on my mat. Plant our hands a little bit behind us, right under the shoulders, so you're kind of set up like this. And then from here, we're going to start to do that windshield wiping motion again with the knees. And this time you might be starting to feel it across the front of the chest and the shoulders. Here, if you want, you can start to lift the hips as we come to either side, feeling a little bit more of a stretch through those shoulders and through the hip flexors, pressing into the sides of the feet and that bottom shin. And then if you want to add on arms, you can start to lift the top arm out long. As we move into our twists, just taking a couple more on each side. Aiming for a nice long line through the body, out through the fingertips. And then after your last round, we'll be back in center. And we'll rock forward to come up to sitting on the shins, finding hero's pose. And we're not going to stay in hero's pose for too long right now. Just going to use it to set up a little bit of a sun A, like a kneeling sun salutation. So, beginning in our hero's pose seat, finding that reach through the crown of the head, letting the palms ground down through the tops of the thighs, collarbone lifts. One more inhale. And exhale here. Next inhale, we'll lift the seat away from the heels, sweeping arms overhead. And then exhale, we'll clasp fingertips and reach over to the right, sending hips over towards the left, finding a side bend. Inhale to center. Exhale, fingers over to the left, hips to the right side. Bend the other side. Inhale to center. Exhale, goalpost the arms, lift the chest. Maybe lift the chin, baby back bend. Inhale to lift fingertips overhead. Exhale, we'll plant hands, finding a tabletop. Neutral spine to begin. Inhale, we'll drop the belly, lift the chest, cow pose. Exhale, tuck the tailbone, round the back, cat pose. And then send the hips back to the heels for child's pose. And we'll pause here for a few breaths. We'll just move through that a couple more times. Finding some gentle movement. Getting the joints warmed up. One more breath in, child's pose. Remember, with an inhale, we'll come back up to that standing on the knees position. Fingertips reaching up overhead, hips lifted away from the heels. And then we'll exhale, side bend to the right. Inhale to center. Exhale, side bend to the left. Inhale to center. Exhale, baby back bend, maybe the elbows broadening across the collarbone. Inhale to lift. Exhale to tabletop. Inhale, drop the belly. Lift the gaze. Exhale, round the back. Tuck the tailbone, tuck the chin. Hips back to heels for child's pose. 2 breaths here. And then after that second round of breath, we'll use our inhale, so lift up. Standing hero's pose. Exhale, side bend to the right. Inhale, center. Exhale, side bend to the left. Inhale, center. Exhale, baby back bend. Inhale to lift. Exhale, tabletop. Inhale, cow pose. Exhale, cat back, and then send the hips back to the heels. For child's pose, we'll just pause, hang out in our child's pose for a few breaths before we move on. If you want to widen the knees out, feel free to adjust your shape. Grounding through the palms and the forehead. Letting the belly be soft, falling towards the mat with your inhales. One more full breath here. And then we'll use an inhale to come back up to either a hero's pose or cross-legged seat. And this time, if you want to put some kind of prop under the hips in whatever seated shape you've chosen, you can go ahead and do that. We're going to grab our strap once again and do a little bit of shoulder flossing, shoulder opening. So we'll take kind of a wide grip on our strap, beginning with the strap out in front of us, about hip height, arms nice and straight. We'll inhale to bring that strap up overhead, and then exhale to drop the arms behind us, bringing the strap all the way back down to our back. Inhale to draw it back up overhead. Exhale to press out, kind of rounding the shoulders as you come forward, back down. And just continuing to move through this on your own, maybe play around with the width of your grip. Bringing the grip in closer will make it a little more difficult to get that strap up and over the head. We'll also create a more intense stretch of the shoulders. And if you're having a hard time getting that strap behind your back, taking a wider grip will make it a little bit easier. Okay, and then after your next round, we'll come back forward. And then keeping the strap in your right hand, we'll reach that arm up and over, bending the elbow behind the back of the head. And then we'll reach the left arm back behind us, bending that elbow at the lower part of the back, and then finding the strap behind the back here, or your hand if you have that range of flexibility, coming into our cow face arms. And then using the tension of the strap to pull the hands towards one another. And we'll just hold and breathe, keeping the front of the shoulders open, but also avoiding collapsing the lower back. So keeping the ribs knitted in together, keeping our spine nice and neutral in this shape. Easy to let the back come into some funny positions when you're doing a deep shoulder stretch like this. So we'll try and keep the spine nice and neutral, even if that means backing off on how deep you come into the stretch a little bit. Take one more round of breath on this side. And we'll exhale to release, keeping that strap held in the left hand. And pause, just roll the shoulders out a little bit here. Blood flow come back in to the arms. And set up our second side. So strap in the left hand this time. We'll bring left arm up and over, bending at the elbow behind the head. And then reaching behind with the right hand. We'll find the strap once again. And then choosing your setup here, how deep you come into this. Again, making sure to kind of pull the belly button in, keeping the lower back neutral, and keeping the chin and chest lifted at the same time. And breathing here. This is one of those shapes that is really easy for some people who have a ton of shoulder mobility, and it is really difficult for others. And maybe you notice a big difference from one side to the other. For me, I have one of my shoulders is much tighter than the other when I try to do this reach around to the back. So it is like way different on one side. So, you know, we all have those little things. Our bodies are never perfectly symmetrical. So, taking a couple more deep breaths on this side. And with an exhale, we'll release both hands and set our strap aside. We'll let the shoulders a little bit. And then we'll come forward to hands and knees once again, removing any props from under the hips. And then we're going to step the feet back, briefly finding a plank, and then exhale to send the hips up and back into downward facing dog. We won't spend a ton of time here, but let's just move around a little bit and then wiggle around in our down dog. Maybe bending and straightening the knees, lifting and lowering the heels, maybe taking a little forward and back movement. And then finding stillness for a couple of breaths. Feeling that length through the tailbone all the way to the crown of the head. Feeling those palms rooted into the ground, heels driving towards the ground. And then with our next inhale, we'll take gaze up towards the hands. And then exhale to walk feet up towards the top of the mat, coming into a forward fold. And keeping a nice deep bend in the knees here so that you can pretty much rest the belly against the thighs. We're going to hang out in our forward fold here for a little bit. You can take ragdoll arms, opposite hand, opposite elbow. Maybe bring hands behind the legs. You could take a chest expansion, interlacing fingers behind the back and letting the hands drop down behind you. Whatever your body's calling for today. Maybe shaking the head yes and no. It can feel really nice. Kind of letting the weight of the head help release all of those little neck muscles. Rocking side to side. Letting the spine just hang from the hips. Crown of the head lengthens towards the floor. One more breath here. And then with your next inhale, we'll bring fingertips or palms to shins, lifting halfway, reaching the crown of the head towards the top of the mat. Exhale to fold again briefly. Inhale, we'll sweep arms up overhead, coming all the way up to stand. And then exhale, hands to heart center, finding our Samasthiti, equal standing pose. And here we'll just make sure that our hips are stacked right over heels, maybe adjusting the feet. A little bit of a tuck to the tailbone, shoulders are rolled back, crown of the head reaches up, feeling really grounded through the whole sole of the foot. With my next inhale, we'll sweep arms up overhead once again. Exhale to fold over legs. Inhale, we'll lift halfway. And then exhale, we'll plant hands and step the left foot back, coming into a little lunge. And we'll just drop that left knee and start to set up any props that you would like. Maybe a block. You could put a blanket under that back knee. Dropping those hips towards the ground. An option here to play around with moving the hips forward and back, coming into half splits, back into the low lunge, or just holding a low lunge if that feels like where you want to stay today. And we'll all come back forward and we'll start to walk that right foot out towards the outer edge of the mat. Toes can point out towards the top right corner, finding your runner's lunge, really dropping into that left hip flexor. Maybe taking a little bit of a twist over towards the right knee. And then we'll start to walk that right foot back in towards center, using both hands to frame that right foot. We'll tuck the back toe, lifting the left knee, and step forward back into our standing forward fold. Exhale, inhale, halfway lift. And then we'll exhale, hands, step the right foot back, coming into a low lunge on the opposite side. And dropping the back knee, setting up your props. And beginning just in our low lunge at center. Option to take that half splits movement forward and back, getting into the hamstring. And then when you feel like you're done playing around with that, we'll come back forward, low lunge, and then walk that left foot out to the outer edge, bringing hands to the inside of the left leg. And runner's lunge. Maybe moving into that twist. Second side. Take one more full breath here. And then start to walk left foot back in towards center. Touching that back toe, planting both hands to frame the left foot. We'll step the left foot back into plank just for a moment, and then drop the knee and send the hips back towards the heels, finding child's pose. And Taking a few breaths to re-ground after doing a few standing postures, which we don't normally incorporate in our yin classes. So I'm going to bring it back down to the ground. Bring the energy back down. Next inhale, we'll lift up through tabletop, and then exhale to sit back on the sits bones. And cross-legged seat. From here, we'll send the right leg out long in front of us, and then step the left foot up and over that knee, planting the sole of the foot across that leg, and here would be a good place to a little elevation of the hips. That's something you like. Finding this crossed over shape here. We're going to plant the left hand behind us at the base of the spine, and then inhale, right arm up, and then start to twist over the left leg, finding either a hook with the elbow or just wrapping that right arm around. Using that left arm and our back for stability. Twisting from the core here. Maybe letting the gaze slowly move over the left shoulder. Bring the twist into the neck. Inhaling to lengthen. Exhaling to settle into the twist. Moving a little bit deeper in. Last full breath. And we'll use an inhale to untwist. Making our way back towards center. And then switching out the legs. Left leg goes out long. Right leg crosses over, planting the sole of that right foot. And then bringing right fingertips behind us, creating that nice, strong support beam. We'll inhale, left fingertips up. And then exhale to twist, taking our left arm wherever feels best to you. And keeping the right foot active, so flexing those, or the left foot active, excuse me, flexing those left toes back towards the body. Maybe taking gaze over right shoulder. Bringing the twist into the neck, the upper part of the spine. Full inhales to lengthen. Exhales to settle into the twist. Keeping the core engaged. Take one more full breath on this side. And with an inhale, untwisting back towards center, uncrossing legs. And then we'll roll down onto the back. And once you're down on your mat, we'll hug knees in towards the chest, and then grab either the inside or outsides of the soles of the feet, pulling legs in towards the body, finding a happy baby. Maybe playing around with straightening the legs or rocking side to side, massaging out the back and the kidneys. And then we'll release the left leg long, keeping the right knee bent in towards the chest at this time. Bringing both hands to wrap around that shin. We'll inhale to compress that hip, hugging the leg in towards the chest. And then exhale to twist over to the left. Maybe sending the right arm out to a T or goalpost. And next inhale, we'll roll back through center. And then send the right leg out long, hugging left knee in, wrapping hands around left shin. We'll inhale to hug that knee in towards the chest, compressing the hip joint. And then exhale to twist over to the right. Choosing where left arm goes. And choosing whether your gaze stays up towards the ceiling or falls over towards the right hand. One more full breath. Inhale, exhale. And then we'll inhale to roll back towards center, coming out of our twist. And then here, if there's any last shapes or movements that you want to take, I invite you to do so. Otherwise, if you're ready to move into your final Shavasana, you start to set that up. Taking any shape that you would like on the floor, where you can be relaxed. Allowing the eyes to fall closed. Just letting the physical body melt into the ground, feeling held up by the earth. Taking a deep full inhale through the nose. Exhaling out the mouth. And we'll start to gently bring some movement into the ankles and wrists. Maybe the neck, rocking the head side to side. Eventually coming into a full body stretch. Reaching long, fingertips and toes. And then exhaling to roll to either side. Take a breath or two here before pressing yourself up to a comfortable seat, keeping your eyes closed. And feel the palms grounded, knees, thighs, feeling the sits bones connected to the mat, reaching the crown of the head up towards the sky. And we'll bring hands to heart center, taking a moment of gratitude for our ability to take some time out of our day to practice. We'll inhale, thumbs to third eye center. And exhale to bow forward. Namaste. Happy Friday. Thanks, everybody.